What are we discussing on today's podcast, you ask? Well, we got a glimpse of the Answerbacks, but they still fell short in game one to the LA Dodgers. Discussing that game, did Corbin Carroll already lock up the NL Rookie of the Year race? Discussing his odds on today's podcast, and then wrapping it up with, is Zac Gallen still the Cy Young favorite? Discussing all that on today's Locked on Diamondbacks podcast.
You are Locked on Diamondbacks, your daily Arizona Diamondbacks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked on Diamondbacks podcast, part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day. This episode is brought to you by Bird Dogs. Go to birddogs.com/LockedOnMLB or enter promo code LockedOnMLB for a free white tech hat with any order. You won't want to take your Bird Dogs off. We promise you. And just for a quick reference, I got the hat on for our YouTube audience. I'm Millard Thomas, host of this wonderful podcast. I'm a multimedia journalist and I'm a graphic designer. So please go check out my website, millardthomas24.myportfolio.com. On there, you can see all my latest work, from my packages to my articles to my photos and my graphic design. If you want to see more content by me, just follow me on Twitter at CreatorThomas24 for my personal account, or just look up Locked on Diamondbacks, both Twitter, Instagram for the podcast handle. And of course, thank you for making Locked on Diamondbacks your first listen every day. I would not be able to do this podcast without you, my loyal listeners, sharing, subscribing, reviewing, doing all that so I could do this podcast for you. Thank you. It's free and available on all platforms, so please continue to tell your friends. One of those platforms is YouTube, so please hit subscribe on the Locked on Diamondbacks YouTube channel. And typically, I like to bring on one of my bobbleheads, one of the D-backs bobbleheads I have on this podcast feed for the YouTube audience. But because this D-backs team is on a 7-game losing streak, no Ketel Marte, no Zac Gallen bobbleheads on the stream until the D-backs at least get a victory and break the streak, because for a small little smidge there, I thought the D-backs might actually come back and shock this Dodgers team. For, let's say this was a 3-hour game, for 2 hours and 55 minutes of this game, I did not think the D-backs had any chance of coming back or winning this game. But the final 5 minutes in that ninth inning, I was like, are the D-backs actually doing something here? Are the Answerbacks actually back? Because guess what? In the 8th inning, when the D-backs start to put together that little rally, that little comeback they had with the Tommy Phams of the world, I was like, okay, this is cute. I'm glad to see Tommy Pham make his first positive play with the D-backs this season, because it's been a struggle for him so far to start his Arizona tenure. He was thrown out in this game, and I was just happy to see him do something positive. I was happy to see the D-backs finally do something positive at the plate in the 8th inning, because those first 7 innings of the ball game was such a drag by this D-backs offense. Once again, they couldn't do anything. They were 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position, and the 3 ways that they got those runners in scoring position: the first way, wild pitch; the second way was a fielder's choice; and the third way was a steal. So at least you actually did a positive play to get your run scoring opportunity that third time around. The first 2, the other team either had the wild pitch or you created an out to get someone at second base. So I wouldn't exactly call that a positive play either. So despite the D-backs putting up runs in the 8th inning after not doing anything the first 7 innings, because I do appreciate the D-backs at least doing something in this 8th inning, so they are not getting shut out once again, let alone getting shut out by this LA Dodgers team. But even with the D-backs scoring runs and showing signs of life in that 8th inning, I still didn't believe that the D-backs were going to come back in this ball game, which is absolutely insane. Because if I told you mid-June that the D-backs were down 2 runs entering the 9th inning, down 3 runs entering the bottom of the 9th inning, and then you had cut it to a 1-run game with a man on base and Corbin Carroll coming up to the plate, if I told you that was a scenario, you might have put it at a coin flip that the D-backs were going to come back in that game, despite it even being the Dodgers. If I told you D-backs after 8 innings were down 4 runs, and then in the bottom of 9th with a man on and 1 out and Corbin Carroll at the plate, do the D-backs still come back in that game? Yeah, I think you still think the D-backs have a pretty good shot at coming back in that game, because up until that point, mid-June, all you've seen is the D-backs make comeback after comeback. It's why they were nicknamed the Answerbacks. And you know what? In this game, even though the D-back star is showing signs of life and fight, which we haven't seen in weeks from this team, I still didn't think this team was going to come back despite the favorite for the NL Rookie of the Year at the plate. I still did not have a lot of belief in this D-backs team coming back. The vibes around this team is so bad right now. I just don't have a lot of faith in them winning ball games. And against a team like the LA Dodgers, it feels like the LA Dodgers come in just big bro the D-backs a lot of times. And I can't even blame the D-backs because when they're at Chase Field in their home ballpark, it's basically a Dodgers home game. So much white and blue. The crowd goes crazy every time the Dodgers do a positive play. It has to be demoralizing for the players as well. And the fans have to do a better job. But what can you do if the Dodgers buy up all the seats, right? You can only do so much there. So I'm glad that the D-backs didn't get shut out in this game, but upset that the D-backs weren't able to complete the comeback after seeing them complete so many comebacks in this game, because those final few minutes of this ball game, like I had to sit up in my chair like it was the final 2 minutes in a 2K battle with my best friend, right? Like, you know, that moment when you have to flip the switch on, you sit up in the chair after crouching the whole time. And it's like, all right, let's get real. That's what I got with this D-backs game. Like, I had to sit up in my chair. It's like, okay, this thing's about to get real. D-backs might come back in this one. And unfortunately they did not. And there was just so many plays that led to this D-backs loss. Like, Carson Kelly could have had a phenomenal best game of the season, but David Peralta, former freight train, former D-backs friend, now foe, playing for the enemy, robs Carson Kelly of a 2-run shot in Chase Field. Makes me want to throw up. Nick Ahmed can't make a routine play up the middle. That's like Gordon Ramsay not being able to make some scrambled eggs. And FYI, if you ever look at a video of Gordon Ramsay making scrambled eggs, they are quite watery, in my opinion. The D-backs for most of this game were bad. At least they come back late. But before that 8th inning, I was tracking it. Before the 8th inning in this game, the D-backs only had 4 doubles in their last 7 games prior to the 8th inning, where they had, of course, a triple and some extra base hits. So this D-backs team just needs to get more extra base hits going. I mean, they only had the triple by Alek Thomas in that 9th inning. So you could say they've had 5 non-home run extra base hits in their last 7 games, which is just not good enough. That's why they're just not enough run scoring opportunities, and just every run scoring opportunity that they do get had just not really been created by the D-backs themselves. So they need to do a better job in doing that. Quick note on Brendan Pfaadt. Didn't think he was terrible tonight. It wasn't great, Pfaadt. He did give up 4 earned runs in less than 5 innings pitched, but I didn't think he looked terrible. I didn't think he looked great, but I do think it was a positive step in the right direction compared to most starts that we've seen by him. Didn't give up a ton of hard contact, no home runs allowed. So positive night for Brendan Pfaadt overall. But the D-backs got a glimpse of the Answerbacks, but unfortunately they fall short to game 1 against the LA Dodgers. And let's just pray and pray and pray they can break the losing streak in game 2. Now, I want to talk to you guys about Corbin Carroll's chances of the NL Rookie of the Year and if it's already locked up. But before we get there, I first need to talk to you guys about bird dogs, because for the YouTube audience, if you look right now, on my head is a bird dogs hat, because bird dogs make you look good. A bird dog stretch khaki shorts are designed to fit slimmer through the thigh and leg, giving you a truly sculpted look. Bird dog shorts do the exact same thing as the Lululemon, but fit way better. They fit way better than regular shorts that are made of a stiff, restricting cotton. Bird dogs fix this issue by inventing cloud knit fabric that looks just like khaki, but stretches so you can get a way slimmer fit without having to sacrifice movement. Bird dogs uses anti-stink sweat wicking fabric that keeps you cool and dry all day long. So go to birddogs.com/LockedOnMLB or enter promo code LockedOnMLB for a free white tech hat with your order. That's birddogs.com/LockedOnMLB or promo code LockedOnMLB for a free white tech hat. You won't want to take your bird dogs off. We promise you. And don't forget to catch every D-backs pitch on their hometown broadcast when you download the Sirius XM app and search up Diamondbacks. And for the YouTube audience, yes, I accidentally put up the ending screen on accident, so please don't make fun of me in the comments section. But let's get back into the podcast and let's discuss Corbin Carroll's Rookie of the Year chances, because we all know Corbin Carroll is the heavy favorite for the NL Rookie of the Year because, as he should, Corbin Carroll has been a stud this whole season. He's been fantastic, all-star in the All-Star game, going to get some MVP votes at the end of the year. Really, I mean, at the end of the year, there's going to be a lot of articles written on Corbin Carroll about he's going to be one of the faces of the future and all the different stats that are going to come out about how Corbin Carroll had one of the best rookie seasons of all time, because what Corbin Carroll is doing this year is historic by rookie standards, even by normal people standards. I mean, I got some stats for you that show you how insane this season has been for Corbin Carroll. And it's been so insane, actually, that I wanted to do this topic and segment because my homie kind of put me onto this the other day because he works in he works for like a sports betting company, and he's like, we've already taken Corbin Carroll's Rookie of the Year betting odds down. We're already starting to pay out people for his Rookie of the Year award. I was like, what? What do you mean you're already starting to pay out folks? Like, he's like, yeah, like we think it's already over. We're already paying out folks. And if you look up on FanDuel or DraftKings and now Rookie of the Year odds, you cannot find them. You can find AL Rookie of the Year odds, Cy Young, MVP, but and now Rookie of the Year odds do not exist because Corbin Carroll is running away with the award, and it is not even close. Voters, I definitely think, are going to vote for Corbin Carroll, and according to FanDuel bettors, DraftKings bettors, they also think voters are going to vote for Corbin Carroll, and they think the race is already over, and you can't really blame them because here's one of my fun facts. Since the first MLB All-Star game in 1993, there have been 3 players to rack up 15 home runs, 25 stolen bases, and 2 walk-off hits before the All-Star break in the season. 1973, Bobby Bonds, 2011, Matt Kemp, and 2023, Corbin Carroll. Carroll is in some fantastic company there. Bobby Bonds, of course, he's no Barry, but he still had a fantastic season. And Matt Kemp, before he left Major League Baseball, did have some very high highs there for the Los Angeles Dodgers. So Corbin Carroll right now is running away Rookie of the Year. And it's really not too much of a surprise when you compare him to the rest of the rookies, because I do like a lot of the rookies this year. I think it's a very strong class, but when you compare Corbin Carroll to the field, it's not really that close, because I'll just do it for you real quick, because the Reds are going to have like 4 rookies in the top 7 of voting. If you remember, one of my preseason predictions from this year was the D-backs were going to have 3 rookies in the top 5 of Rookie of the Year voting. I thought it was going to be Corbin Carroll and like a combination of like Ryan Nelson or Dre Jameson or Brandon Pfaadt. And Corbin Carroll is going to win the award, but those next 3 guys will not finish in the top 5 of the Rookie of the Year voting, unfortunately. But compare Corbin Carroll to the rest of the field. I mean, Matt McLain, I think, is going to finish second in the Rookie of the Year voting. He's on the Cincinnati Reds. And if you compare him to Corbin Carroll with WRC plus and WAR, like in terms of impact, like McLain might be the most comparable guy of all these rookies, but because Corbin Carroll has like 30 plus games on him, the numbers are just not going to be anywhere near Corbin Carroll's for Matt McLain. Ellie De La Cruz is one of the most fun, one of the most electric rookies we've seen in a long time. The second most electric rookie this season to a Corbin Carroll. Even has moments and flashes this year where he's been more fun. But Ellie De La Cruz, since that hot start, has faded a little bit. And if you look at the numbers, not as impressive as you might have remembered from when he first got called up. Francisco Alvarez for the New York Mets has been phenomenal, 20 plus home runs, 800 plus OPS, but he is a catcher. And because Corbin Carroll is going to finish with like 55 stolen bases, and he has more power than a Francisco Alvarez, I just don't think Alvarez's numbers are going to be anywhere near, or he's going to have the impact of Corbin Carroll. Spencer Steer, another guy, really good, Cincinnati Reds, just not Corbin Carroll. Kodai Senga, I think him or Matt McLain deserve to be second in Rookie of the Year voting. Senga's been absolutely phenomenal this year. Double-digit strikeouts per 9, near really low 3s ERA. Like, Senga has been absolutely phenomenal. I just think the case against him, his team sucks. He's on the New York Mets, and he's old. Like, he's like, I don't know how old he is. He's like 29 years old as a rookie pitcher. Like, he's coming over from Japan as a professional. He's been pitching on a professional level for years now. So it's not like a guy coming up from AA to AAA. This is his first season. He's been playing against grown men and probably some major leaguers already, right? There's major leaguers in Japan. So Senga's already more seasoned than that. So when you really do compare Corbin Carroll to the rest of the field, it's not even close. The race is locked up. All Corbin Carroll has to do is stay healthy. And even if he gets hurt right now with 108 games under his belt, the bettors are telling you it's over. These casinos are telling you it's over. Corbin Carroll is going to take home the NL Rookie of the Year race, and I'm very happy to see it. Now, one thing I am upset to see, though, is the MVP chances for Corbin Carroll, because at one point, Carroll was second in MVP odds just to Ronald Acuna back in late June, if you could believe that. I saw an article back on June 26th when Corbin Carroll was second on FanDuel and MVP voting to Ronald Acuna. But if you look today at the NL MVP voting, it's Acuna by a landslide as the favorite. He's at minus 50. Second is Freddie Freeman plus 400. Then it jumps to Matt Olson plus 3,200. Mookie Betts plus 3,200. Juan Soto plus 10,000. Fernando Tatis plus 18,000. Christian Yelich plus 18,000. And then this is where it gets fun. Ozzie Albies plus 20,000, Christian Walker plus 20,000, Corbin Carroll plus 20,000, Nolan Arenado plus 20,000, Will Smith plus 20,000, Ketel Marte plus 20,000. And there's a few other guys plus 20. There's a lot of plus 20,000s, but Corbin Carroll, Ketel Marte, Christian Walker, all tied at plus 20,000. They basically all sit in this big tier, tied for the sixth best odds, I believe, among all people to win the MVP, or maybe it's seventh best odds. So Corbin Carroll goes from second in MVP odds back in late June to tied for seventh with his own teammates, Ketel Marte and Christian Walker, which is kind of crazy. The D-backs have fallen far from grace. Corbin Carroll has been struggling in the second half, but guess what? There's still like 50-something games left in the season, and Corbin Carroll can definitely get hot once again and carry this team down the stretch. And if he does that with Ronald Acuna going down with injury, I'm never wishing injury on anyone, but with Acuna going down and with the D-backs 50 games left and Carroll gets hot, hey, maybe he can finish second in MVP voting. Now, I want to talk to you guys about Zac Gallen's chances to win the Cy Young Award. But before we get there, I first need to talk to you guys about the Sleeper app, because this is something that I use daily once the fantasy football season rolls around. But the great thing about Sleeper is you can use the app right now, because do you think Corbin Carroll or Shohei Ohtani is going to hit a home run tonight? If you do, swing for the fences and pick them on the Sleeper app, because you could get up to 100 times payout. All you have to do is choose at least two or more players, and you can also select some stat categories for them like home runs, strikeouts, hits, and more. And if you get it right, get your picks right, you can win big. Like I said, 100 times payout. And the Sleeper app is great because it's fantasy sports plus real money gaming app focused on bringing people together through sports and gaming. Sleeper is the fastest organically growing fantasy platform in the world with over 5 million active users. And when October, the fall season rolls around, best believe I'm using Sleeper daily, like I said, because I use it for dynasty football. It's great. It's great for rookie drafts. It's great for dynasty drafts. It's great for just archiving your team and your players year after year. So I love the Sleeper app. So please go to Sleeper, use promo code Locked On. You'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 30 states. Check out Sleeper today. And don't forget to catch every D-backs pitch on their hometown broadcast when you download the Sirius XM app and search up Diamondbacks. Now let's get back into the podcast and let's wrap it up with a little discussion on Zac Gallen and can he potentially win the Cy Young Award? Because as I said all season, it has not felt like a very good, strong Zac Gallen season. I felt like he's been very shaky, very up and down this year. And even with that being said, if you go to FanDuel right now and look at the NL Cy Young race, he is the favorite at plus 200. Now it is super close. Blake Snell plus 300, Justin Steele plus 500. And I just want to talk about the top six on this list, which is Gallen, Snell, Justin Steele, Logan Webb, Spencer Strider, and Corbin Burns. Because like I said, I don't even think Zac Gallen has pitched to a Cy Young level this year. But when you look at the case for him, it's pretty clear why he's the favorite, on FanDuel right now. because the field is really not that strong for the NL Cy Young Award race. Last year, it was over at like the All-Star break. Like if you look at last year, the MVP and the Cy Young Award race both felt kind of over by the All-Star break. Like Goldie was having like a triple crown type season. Obviously, he didn't finish with the triple crown, but he was having that type of year all year. Then Sandy Alcantara had like 100 more innings pitched than anyone else or something crazy, a lot more strikeouts. Like those two guys were just clearing a cut, the best above the best above the rest in the MVP and Cy Young Award race last year. But this year, the NL Cy Young Award race, super duper close. And really, a lot of these guys have really strong cases. I think Zac Gallen has the best case, but he has to pitch well down the stretch. He can't rest on his laurels because this is a super tight Cy Young race. Because, like I said, the top 6 guys I want to focus on for this exercise: Gallen, Snell, Steele, Webb, Strider, Burns. Because all 6 of those guys probably have at least 8 to 10 starts remaining in their season. So this race is not wrapped up at all. This is not Corbin Carroll in the Rookie of the Year race. This race is still wide open. Now, if you want to make the case for Zac Gallen as to why he is the favorite and why he should win if the season ended today, he's the only pitcher in the NL top 3 in innings pitch, strikeouts, and wins, while also 5th in ERA and 2nd in WHIP. He just has the best overall case, I think, statistically. He's basically top 5, top 3, or the best in every major pitching category for pitchers. But if you want to know the case for others because of why this race is so close, if you look at a guy like Blake Snell in the San Diego Padres, he leads the NL in ERA. There's only two pitchers in the NL with a sub-3 ERA. Snell is one of them. He also has basically 12 strikeouts per 9 innings. Strikeout machine, not giving up runs. The case against him: leads the NL and walks allowed, and he has way less innings than Zac Gallen. How about a guy like Justin Steele? I think he is potentially the biggest threat to a Zac Gallen, him or Logan Webb. Justin Steele tied for the most wins in the NL, 2nd in ERA, really good walk numbers. So, and you also have to remember, the Cubs are making a playoff push. They stole a wild card spot from the D-backs. Maybe he doesn't have name value, but considering how well the Cubs have been playing and now Marcus Stroman is on the injured list, if he's looked at as the guy in that rotation with how good his numbers are, I could see him potentially surpassing Zac Gallen in the Cy Young Award race. Spencer Strider, he's a strikeout machine. I think in terms of flair and sexiness, people want to vote for him, but he's got an ERA near 4. He does give up runs. Like, I don't think Strider's perfect. I think he's clearly behind Zac Gallen in the Cy Young Award race. Logan Webb, he's the other guy. Either him or Justin Steele, I think, are the biggest threat to a Zac Gallen because he leads the NL in innings pitch, top 5 in strikeouts, best strikeout to walk ratio in the NL, great command. But his issue is 9-9 record, which isn't sexy, but he does have a strong case overall. And with the Giants also lead passing the Arizona Diamondbacks, I think that could matter down the stretch. Corbin Burns, best whip in baseball, good ERA, 5th in innings pitch. And he's also Corbin Burns, so I think he has a bit of a name value there. But he just doesn't have a strong case like these other guys. Like, I really do think it's down to Zac Gallen, Justin Steele, Blake Snell, Logan Webb, with Steele and Webb probably being 1A, 1B. And I really do think, even with a Blake Snell, the playoffs are going to matter. Like, Gallen's team, Snell's team, Steele's team, and Webb's team are all going to fight each other for one of these wild card spots. And if you look at, like, if Gallen goes on another scoreless streak and you could point to him as 4 or 5 wins down the stretch, that is crucial for the D-backs making the postseason. That's going to be huge. I think voters can look at that as a tip in his feather for the Cy Young Award race. The same with everyone else. If Justin Steele with Marcus Stroman gets hot and the Cubs lock up a playoff spot, yeah, that's going to be great for his case. Same with Logan Webb. If they lock up a case, then he's phenomenal down the stretch. So I do think these final 8 to 10 starts for each of those pitchers is going to matter a lot when all those pitchers are in the thick of the wild card race. I really do think the playoffs are going to play a pivotal point in how these voters vote on these awards this year. Not something that we typically do because a lot of times we just make it a performance-based award, especially when you look at the Mike Trouts of the world, or even if you look at the Sandy Alcantara last season. But because this race specifically is so close, I do think if you're nitpicking hairs, you could look at the playoff race, how it shook up as the final differentiator. But as it currently stands, if it was voted on today and wrapped up, I think Zac Gallen clearly leads among the rest with the best statistical resume of everyone. Even though I don't think this is the best version of Zac Gallen we've seen, because if we got 2022 Zac Gallen pitching this year, I think the D-backs are probably still in the wild card mix. I also think Zac Gallen is running away with the Cy Young Award, but unfortunately, that's not the reality this year. We got to play the cards we were dealt. And Zac Gallen, like a Corbin Carroll, 50 games left, still enough time to turn it around. And Zac Gallen definitely has enough time to leave his fingerprint on this playoff race and lock up the Cy Young Award. Now, that's it for this edition of the Locked On Diamondbacks podcast. Come back tomorrow where we actually talk to Javier Reyes of Locked On Padres, do a little preview for our series against the San Diego Padres. Thank you for making Locked On Diamondbacks your first listen every day. Come back tomorrow for more Diamondbacks news coverage and insight. If you do listen every day, put hashtag everyday in the comment section on YouTube. And as always, stay safe, stay healthy. Deuces.